one thing is alive and well here. Evil.
I'm sure by the first few seconds of this video, you can tell I like some Metroids and some Primes. Wait a second. You're not supposed to be here. You suck. You suck. You sucked my life away the first time I played you. I do not like you. Get out of my sight. I thought in celebration of Metroid Prime coming out, I would play all the Metroid games and review them to you. Now, I've played Metroid Prime, the original game, as you can see here, but I've actually never played the rest of the series. So I'll be playing through all of these games and telling you guys what I think of them. I've even got the weird spin-off games like Metroid Prime Pinball. But yeah, I'll be reviewing all these games. And I'm honestly really excited to play some of these for the first time. All you kids, man, all you play is Fortnite, Call of Duty, Helldivers 2. Well, you guys need to play a real shooter game. Like... Get that away from me. Like Metroid Prime. Dude, I mean, what can I say about this game that hasn't been said? I adore this game with every fiber of my being. Now, I actually originally played the Switch version of the game, Metroid Prime Remastered. And at first, I was kind of scared to play the original game because I thought, oh, since it's a GameCube game, it might not age as well, or the controls might not be as good. But after playing it, this game's still really good. Like, it still holds up, and it's still a pretty good time. The main issue with the game is the controls are a little bit hard to get used to at first. So how you move in the game is you use this to move around, but if you want to use the camera, you have to hold down the right button and then use the stick. And, you know, it is kind of awkward at first, having to get used to this, but by the time you're like an hour in, you'll basically be fully used to the controls. I still think it's a great game, it's just the controls can get some time to get used to. The remaster of the game basically made it so it controls like a normal first-person shooter, which I think is vastly better. Now, this game is actually kind of a revival of the Metroid series, as there hadn't been a Metroid game since Super Metroid. And that was a long time. And this game's also made by Retro Studios. And Retro Studios is a really good company. They've made the Metroid Prime games and the new Donkey Kong Country games, which I really like those games. Those are good games. This game is kind of a revolutionary title for the Metroid series. As before, all the rest of the games were in 2D, but this was the first 3D Metroid game, and they went for something quite unique. They decided to go for a first-person game. Originally in development, they were actually thinking about going for a third-person one, but I feel like it was a good decision for them to go for first-person. I feel like if they would have went for third-person in the game, it just would have felt a lot more claustrophobic and tight and just awkward. It was an amazing idea for them to go with first person. And in my opinion, this is like one of the best first person games of all time. I think they perfected the formula with this game, and it's just great. The graphics in this game are super impressive. This game came out in 2002. You should look at some of the other games that were released then. It's just mind-blowing. I mean, in my opinion, the best looking area of the game would have to be the desert area. I mean, throughout the beginning of the game, you're in this spaceship and on this grassy area. But once you first go into that desert area, you just see the light, and it's just beautiful, man. Something this game does extremely well is the music. I love listening to this game's music. It's just beautiful. I mean, the snowy area's music is just so mesmerizing and just mysterious. You just want to know what's happening. And the first time you go into that water area, ooh. That thing gives me goosebumps. It's just so beautiful. In the game, you just feel like you're discovering something. Like, as you go through the game, you discover more and more of the Chozo ruins, and it's just really cool feeling. You get to see all these cool, mysterious areas, like this room. At first, it's not powered on, but once you power it on, it's like this weird solar system thing. It's like, man, that's so cool. And you get to discover, like, where they made the Metroids, like, the Metroids in, like, the tubes and stuff. It's just... The bosses in this game are really well crafted and made. You can't just go in guns of blazing. You have to figure out how to beat them. Each one of them has their own unique puzzle you have to figure out in order to beat them. Like this one, you have to shoot the lights and raise all 4 of them up. And then the boss falls down. Once the boss falls down, you can go into morph ball mode and then go through this pipe and then place down a bomb, and then you've done some damage. Each boss has just their own brilliant thing you have to decipher in order to beat them, and it's quite good. Now this time, when I decided to play the game for the second time, I decided to 100% it. And it was quite fun. I had quite a lot of fun getting all of the items. Your reward for getting 100% is being able to see the true ending of the game, which shows Samus's face in this cutscene. And dude, it felt so cool getting that ending. It just felt really cool seeing it. And overall, Metroid Prime is just an amazing game. I love this game. It is so good. It does everything so well. Except for maybe the controls. That's really the only major issue I have with the game. But this game just does everything perfectly, from the music, the atmosphere, to the gameplay, to the bosses. It's just perfect. In fact, the original Metroid Prime is actually one of my favorite games. I love it that much. And overall, it's just an amazing masterpiece that I think everyone deserves to play. So, we have Metroid Prime Remastered. We have Metroid Prime for the GameCube. But what about Metroid Prime Pinball? Yeah, this is my shit. This here is the GOAT. Okay, just kidding. This game's alright. It's nothing special. And honestly, I was expecting a lot more from this game. Like, I thought all the areas from Metroid Prime would be in this game, but there's only like 5 levels, and that's kind of lame. And that's really the biggest problem with this game, is the lack of content. There really isn't that much to this game. It's just the bare basics. Like, there are 2 modes. One of them's kind of like an adventure mode, where you go through all the levels, and you have to collect all the Chozo artifacts, and then you can select the stages, and that's it, which is kind of lame. Now, unlike Metroid Prime, this wasn't developed by Retro Studios. It was actually developed by Fuse Games, and they made a Mario Pinball, which I heard isn't that good, and Thomas and Friends, which is obviously, like, it's Thomas and Friends, guys. Isn't it amazing? It was actually kind of perfect that they decided to make this game for the DS. Because on the DS you have the dual screens, which allows Samus to slide from screen to screen, which works just like a regular pinball board. Now, I think this game actually works well as a pinball game. It does everything good and correctly. It feels satisfying and good to use. Now, I will admit, it is cool seeing the areas from Metroid Prime turned into pinball levels. The main issue is you can see it right here on screen. The graphics haven't aged well. It's giving Fallout 1 for the PC. I think instead of going for this weird realistic style, they should have just gone for like a fun pixel art style, like Pokemon Pinball or Mario Pinball. That would have been way better. They also decided to add a few features that you wouldn't see in a regular pinball board. Like, for example, you can go into this gun mode where you shoot up enemies and stuff, which is kind of satisfying. They also added this crappy wall jumping game. You have to wall jump all the way to the top until you get the artifact, but it doesn't really control that well. You have to hit R and L and swap between them to do the wall jump. And, of course, they added some of the bosses from Metroid Prime, and that's pretty cool. But it's just like, yeah, this game is just barren of content. People complain about Nintendo's new games not having content, but this game just, there's nothing here. And, yeah, one fun thing this game does do is it actually has support with the DS Rumble Pack, which is kind of cool. I can't test that feature out since I'm using a 3DS, and the 3DS can't use that Rumble Pack, but it's still kind of neat. Overall, this game's fine. It's whatever. It's an okay game, but there are just so many better Metroid games, and honestly, this might be one of the weaker Metroid games. Unfortunately, I couldn't buy it with the box because that would be way too expensive. So the game is cartridge. Ignore this. So the game is cartridge only, which that kind of sucks. But yeah. So this is all I have is the cartridge. Real fast, just listen to this song. It sounds sick as hell. I mean, it just sounds so cool. It's actually a remix from the original Metroid. Yeah, I'm gonna throw this cartridge and we're gonna move to the next game. Here. Ooh, there's the game. Alright, next up we have Metroid Prime Hunters. Now, I'm playing Metroid Prime Hunters next, as it actually takes place after Metroid Prime in the timeline, instead of Metroid Prime 2. This game actually wasn't developed by Retro Studios, it was developed by Nintendo NST, and the reason why is because Retro Studios was too busy making Metroid Prime 2. Now, I do like this game, but there are some issues I have with it. Now, in my opinion, God damn it. Okay. God. Just ignore that. So yeah, anyway, in my opinion, they actually did a pretty good job of translating the Metroid Prime formula to a handheld. Now, they didn't do it perfectly, but I think they did the best they could. Now, the graphics in this game do look pretty chunky and stuff, but I don't know, I think it looks kind of charming. I kind of like how, like, blocky and, like, pixely it looks. I think that's just, like, kind of neat, honestly. Now, what isn't neat are the controls. The controls are a major problem with this game. And, well, yes, you can get used to them. They're very hard to get used to at first when you play this. Worse than the original Metroid Prime. So, the original Metroid Prime was already kind of hard to get used to at first, with the controls. Now, eventually you do get used to the controls, but with this game, I don't know. I feel like these controls aren't that good. This game could have done a lot better with its controls, and yeah. Now you're probably wondering, how does this game control? Well, what you do is you use the face button to move your character, but to move the camera, you have to use the face buttons, and yeah, you have to click down each of these buttons to move. So if you want to move right, click this one. If you want to move left, click that one. Up. It sucks at first. It really does. And dude, when I first picked up this game, I was like so confused. Like I didn't know what I was doing. What the
Monkey!
What? Why? Now, there are other control methods, but they're not good. Now, you could make it so the camera, you control with the stick instead and use the buttons to move around, but that just doesn't feel natural to me. As a gamer, usually use this side to control your character. Now, another option is to use the touchscreen as the way you can control your camera. But you have to do it with the DS stylus. So you have to awkwardly like control your character and do this. It's just no. Now they did also sell separately this weird thing that you attach to your thumb, and you can like do this and show a picture on screen of the thing I'm talking about. Sean, editor in the future. But yeah, I don't have that product, so I can't test it. But that still doesn't look good. Now, as you can see on screen, there's been all these people popping up with names, and that's the gimmick of the game. It's called Metroid Prime Hunters, and that's because there are 6 other hunters after you. And yeah. Now, one of the hunters in this game is Silex, and he's actually the main villain of Metroid Prime 4, which I think is pretty cool that they decided to get an obscure character like that. But yeah, Silex is a pretty cool character. I really like his design. It's kind of got this more like angular, colorful look. It's like kind of menacing. I really like it. Occasionally in the game, you'll have to fight some of the some of these other bounty hunters that are trying to hunt you down. Unlike Metroid Prime 1, you explore 4 planets, but each planet isn't very big. In fact, they're microscopic, the areas you explore. Now, that's not that big of a deal since this is a handheld game, so they can't like make this a huge Metroid game. And I think they did a good job making it small. It's like kind of suitable for handheld. Like when you're on the bus, you can kind of go through, beat
one of the areas and move on, which I think is good. Now in the game, it's split up into 4 planets, and you go to each planet and you explore them, get through them, and then fight the main boss, and then go to the next planet. And then you have to go back and revisit the planets one more time, and then you get one last level you have to play. Honestly, this is a pretty good gameplay loop. I think the gameplay loop's good. Something I kind of am disappointed about with the game are the bosses. They kind of just reuse the same bosses. Now they do change them up, but I think it would have been cool if they gave us more than 2 different boss types. One of them is like a giant pole thing, and the other is like an eyeball circle thing. And those are the only 2 bosses. The only 2 types of bosses you fight in the game. I mean, you could count the bounty hunters, but those things are pretty easy to beat. Now you also get all these cool blaster items, which I like. One of them's like a zoom in button where you can like zoom in and kind of go in and like go poof. And that's a really cool weapon I like. So I want to 100% this game, and in order to 100% it, you must scan absolutely everything in the game. And there are some things that you can only scan once. If you don't scan them, you can never scan them again, which means you cannot 100% the game. That is it for you. If you don't scan them that one time, get the true ending of the game. So, unlike Metroid Prime, where I 100% that, I cannot 100% this game, which I'm really mad about. Now, one of the things that was a one-time scan was Silex ship, and yeah, it's like, why did you do this? Why did you do this? Why couldn't you have made it so, I don't know, this ship appears again or something? Or like some of the other items. Like, I don't know, this is just really stupid and lame and dumb. And it's frankly bullshit. Like, God. So yeah, I couldn't get the true ending of the game since I didn't 100% it. And that's really annoying. The true ending's actually pretty weird. I had to watch a YouTube video of it. Yeah, it was kind of weird. In the true ending of the game, you get to see Samus out of her suit, like most of the other Metroid games, how they do their true ending. But she's like talking to these people and stuff, and it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird how it is. And it also kind of looks cursed because it's like weird CGI, and yeah, it's kind of weird. There's also some weird pre-rendered cutscenes. You've been looking at them. They look pretty blurry and pixely, but that makes sense since it's a DS game. But yeah, these cutscenes, if they weren't so blurry, I actually think they look good. Yeah. One more thing. This game has a multiplayer mode. There's online stuff with it, which you can't do because the online servers are probably dead, in the grave, burning in hell. But yeah, I decided not to, do the multiplayer stuff because I didn't feel like it, and I'm not really playing a Metroid game for the multiplayer, and you know what, that's fine. I'm just not going to do the multiplayer. If you like the multiplayer, that's cool. This game is a pretty fun game. It's pretty fun exploring these worlds and finding all these creatures and stuff. I do like it. I think this is a good game. There's just some issues with it that kind of lower it for me. And this is also like just a handheld game, so it's not as big as the console ones. And yeah, overall, it's a good game. But it's nothing amazing. It's nothing like that groundbreaking or amazing. So while recording this for a month, I think I've noticed every shot of this video, my nails have changed colors. So that's a fun little Easter egg, I guess. So we got one awesome game, Metroid Prime. Now it's time for the sequel, Metroid Prime 2 Echoes. Now this game was also developed by Retro Studios. They did a really good job with this game. I don't think it's as good as the original, but I still really loved it. I think it's a really good sequel. Now, development for this game was actually a lot better than Metroid Prime 1. Retro Studios had a bunch of issues with crunch and stuff with the first game when developing, but the second game went better. They also released this game fairly quickly after the original. It only took them 2 years. So in development, Retro Studios was actually originally making a multiplayer game called Metroid 1.5, and you're going to be able to play as bounty hunters and stuff, and there's going to be a cool dark and light realm mechanic. They're also developing a single-player mode, but it was small in development. But later on in development, they decided, you know what, let's just take this single-player mode we were developing and make it into the full game and also give it a smaller multiplayer mode. And they renamed it to Metroid Prime 2 Echoes. Now, this game, I feel like, is one of those games where if you loved the original, you'll love the second one. It's basically more of what you loved from the original. It's not like Jak 2, which is the sequel to Jak and Daxter, where in that game they kind of dramatically changed up the gameplay into more of like a shooter, like car stealing game. It's not like a huge change like that. It's sort of just more Metroid, which is fine for a sequel. Now I feel like this game's a lot more structured than Metroid Prime 1. In that game, you were sort of just put on this planet and okay, now you figure out what you're supposed to do. But in this game, there's more structure. In this game, they actually have a lot more story to it. You actually meet this guy called Umos, and he's like an alien from this planet that you landed on. The planet you landed on is the Ether, planet Ether. In the game, you'll occasionally meet up with him, and he'll tell you what to do and stuff, and he's basically like a Zelda companion, but a weird alien bug wasp guy. So basically in the game, you landed on this planet and it's called the Ether, and these aliens called the Ing invaded the planet a long time ago, and they separated the planet into two dimensions, light ether and dark ether. You get told this information when you first meet Umos, and Umos tells you that you have to defeat all 3 shrines on the planet. And they actually added in a new feature. They added in Dark Ether, which is basically like a dark, twisted version of the area you're in. And it's kind of spooky, those areas. I mean, the first time you go in, it's kind of like stressful because it's depleting your health. And if you don't want your health depleted, you have to make sure you're in one of the force fields. And it's kind of a little bit intense, like making sure, like while you're traveling around, making sure you don't lose health, making sure you get back in the force field. It's really good. Eventually, you do get more health. It's not as bad, but the first time playing, it's kind of intense. The Dark Ether is just really cool looking. I like the feature. Puzzle solving in this game's really good, as you have to figure out a puzzle in the light ether, and then you go back and you can finish it in the dark ether. So you basically just go back and forth between them, and eventually you're gonna solve the puzzle. And I really like that about the game. So in each area, you have to find all 3 dark keys in order to unlock the shrine. Once you unlock the shrine, you can beat the boss. They actually added in some really cool abilities. Like, they brought an ability from the 2D Metroid games. They brought in the screw attack, and it's such a good move. It basically allows you to do multiple jumps in the air, and you can like use it across large bits of land, and you can like use it to traverse different platforms and stuff. It's just a really cool move. It's really useful and fun to use. And they also added another cool ability. When you're in morph ball mode on a magnet, now you can jump off of it, and I really like that move. It sort of gives a bit more depth to the morph ball sections in the game. They also add in the dark beam and the light beam, which can be used to open up dark doors and light doors, which allow you to enter the dark or light aether. So yeah, a bunch of new cool abilities, and I love the fact they brought back the screw attack. The screw attack's such an awesome item. Now, I think I'm not as into the environments. Of course, there are some really cool ones in the game. I just prefer the original game's environments. There's this like cool futuristic area in the game. It's futuristic sea area, and it looks really cool. It also looks really pretty, especially on a CRT. And they also put in this sewer level, which is cool. There's also this sand level, which I'm not as into. It's fun, I guess. But the dark ether does look really cool and sick. I really like those backgrounds. I think they're really cool. I love those environments. One of the really cool things about this game is the new character they put in, Dark Samus. And she's basically like the emo version of Samus. She's like really cool. You get to fight her a few times. In the final area, she becomes this cool like skeleton version. I just love her. And I think she might be coming back Metroid Prime 3 because post-credits there's a little scene of her. So yeah, I'm pretty sure she's going to be in Metroid Prime 3. But yeah, she's a really cool character, and I really like her design. It's kind of cool looking. But yeah, I love Dark Samus. I think she's really rad and sick. I felt like the music in Metroid Prime 2 was pretty good. Not as good as the original, but I still really liked the soundtrack. One song I especially love is Torisk Bog. I love the above version and below version of the song. The above version of this song just has such a mysterious vibe, as if you're unearthing some mysterious area that hasn't been discovered in years. And it just sounds so good. I love it. This song almost has an alien sound to it. It just sounds so cool. It has such a mesmerizing, almost hypnotizing aura to it. It just sounds so perfect and just amazing. It's just perfect and beautiful, this song. I love it so much. It's probably my favorite song from Metroid Prime 2. But the below version of this song is also really good too. So the bottom level of Torvis Bog is actually a sewer area. And the song they used for it is also a remix of a song from Super Metroid.
original song from Super Metroid has sort of a crunchier 16-bit sound to it, which makes sense since it was from the Super Nintendo. Metroid Prime 2's version of the song gives it a much more slower, gradual, sort of more mesmerizing sound to it, and it just sounds amazing. The song matches perfectly with the underwater sewer aesthetic that the level was going for. This song gives us the vibe that we're like underwater, deep underwater in these sewers, just trying to slowly get through it. And it just is amazing. It really engrosses you into the world, and it just is such an amazing song. I think they did a great job with this remix. So I 100%ed the game, and what you get for 100%ing the game is you get some special cutscenes at the end of the game. Normally at the end she just takes off in her ship, but the special ending shows her taking off her power suit and revealing Zero Suit Samus. And something else you get after the credits is you get to see that Dark Samus survived. I feel like Nintendo really needs to make a remastered version of this game. Like, they remastered the original Metroid Prime, and it made the game better to control. I love both games, but the controls are... you need to get used to them, and they're hard at first. I think for newcomers of the series, they should remaster this game. I really hope Nintendo does a remaster like Metroid Prime 1. I mean, I like super badly want to replay this game with the same like graphics as the remastered for the first game. It's, oh my god, I can imagine it. It'd be so awesome playing this game with sick new graphics and better controls and on the go. Man, I would replay this game all over again, remastered. It'd be so, oh my god, and it being on the Switch too. Dude, we need this game to be remastered. Oh my god. So, overall, I would say this is a really good game. I absolutely love this game. I think it's amazing. I think Retro Studios did an absolutely amazing job. I do prefer the original game, but I still love this game, and I'm really excited to play the rest of the series. Metroid Prime 3, I'm really excited to play that next game. But yeah, that's it. Alright, and now it's time to look at Metroid Prime 3. The last game in the original Metroid Prime trilogy. While Retro Studios was still developing Metroid Prime 2, Nintendo actually decided to greenlit the sequel Metroid Prime 3. So they once they were done making Metroid Prime 2, they got to working Metroid Prime 3. Now, when Retro Studios were actually first pitching the game, they wanted it to be more like a JRPG. And it was going to be more of an open world game where you would have like a hub world you would go to, and you would try and hunt down criminals and stuff, and they would level you and your ship up. You'll be able to upgrade them. But Nintendo actually didn't like this idea because they thought Samus didn't bounty hunt for money, but out of the goodness of her own heart. They didn't think that was really in line with her character, which makes sense. Now they also wanted to add in more stuff you'd be able to do with your ship in the game, but because of hardware limitations from the Wii, they couldn't really do it. They also couldn't add in the open world idea too because of hardware limitations from the Wii. So yeah, they actually decided to go for a more traditional Metroid Prime style for this game. Metroid Prime 3 came out, and Nintendo actually said that this would be the last game in the original Metroid Prime trilogy. And Retro Studios would actually take a break from Metroid because they actually got burnt out of making all these Metroid games. So they decided to instead develop some new games, and they were developing a new Donkey Kong game, which became Donkey Kong Country Returns, and a new Zelda game, but that unfortunately got canceled. In my opinion, this game is pretty good. I don't think it's as good as the last two Metroid Prime games, but this is still a pretty good game. Now, something this game did super amazingly was its controls. All the other Metroid Prime games did not control well. I love those games, but they just do not control well. Well, this game decided to use motion controls because it was released on the Wii, and everything on the Wii had to have motion controls. But yeah, here you would have, so you use the Wiimote and Nunchuck to control the game, and to move your character, you'd use the Nunchuck, and to aim and fire and move your camera, you'd use the Wiimote. And it just feels so good, and just feels so much better to control. It just feels a lot better and a lot more enjoyable to play the game this way. And yeah, and also you can just do so much more precise aiming with the motion controls. It feels like one of those arcade shooter games or like a light gun game where you just have a lot more precision, and you can like actually aim on like enemies far away in the distance. Like you can aim a lot better, and it just feels better. And actually, in the original Metroid Prime games, when you locked on to an enemy, you would lock on permanently, and you'd just be able to shoot them, which is kind of overpowered. But in this game, you'd lock on to them, but you'd still have to like make sure you're aiming and stuff, instead of just like being overpowered. Also, there's some cool little motion control things. Like sometimes you'll have to like when you're taking down like a tube, you'll go like which is kind of cool feeling. And then there's points where you like lift up the Wii remote and then move it to the side, put it down to like move the mine carts in that one level. And yeah, there's just a bunch of little fun motion control things they did with the game. Also something that's super cool is if an enemy has a shield, you can grapple onto it, and then you go like this, and you can take off the shield, and it feels super satisfying doing that. But yeah, I think this game controls the best out of all the Metroid Prime games. Like, this game controls beautifully. I felt like the gameplay in this game is kind of like an improved Metroid Prime Hunters. And yeah, this game, by the way, this game's so much better than Metroid Prime Hunters. Like, I like Metroid Prime Hunters, but this game's really good. So yeah, they kind of took the idea of Metroid Prime Hunters, you go into different planets and satellites, and kind of expanded and improved it and made it into much more of a proper Metroid game. Do think I kind of preferred it just being one planet, but I still do think this is good. And I think the reason why I preferred it being one planet is because it felt like you're exploring like one whole big world. Whereas in this game, it feels like you're exploring multiple separate areas that aren't as like interconnected. Now, of course, the planets and stuff, the levels are still big and there's still stuff to explore, but I just preferred the other games. But yeah, I think my two favorite planets, Skytown and the pirate homeworld. I love Skytown, dude. It's just super cool. You go on these like zip lines and stuff, and it's like got this cool steampunk aesthetic, and it kind of reminds me of City in the Sky from Zelda Twilight Princess. It kind of feels like the Metroid version of that level. And yeah, there's also these little robot guys, which I kind of really like for some reason. Yeah, it's a really cool level, and you can like, and you're like all above the sky, and you can see the clouds, and it's just a really cool level. And I also like Pirate Homeworld because it's like super cool. It's like it gives off some super like evil layer stuff, and it's like all red, and there's rain, and there's all these enemies, and you can also go on these transporters which can transport you throughout the level and stuff. It is just such a cool looking level. Like, it looks sick. Like, that would be good as anyone's wallpaper. Like, it just looks sick. Those two levels really stuck out to me. I really loved those ones. So, Metroid Prime 3 actually introduced voice-acted cutscenes, which hadn't been seen before in the Metroid series. Unless you count Super Metroid's little bits of voice audio. But yeah, this game had fully voiced cutscenes, and they don't age the best.
Looks like everyone's here now. Before I begin the briefing, let me introduce 242, the flagship's Aurora unit.
Ah, an organic supercomputer. Fascinating. It's my understanding that the Galactic Federation's core network is comprised of such units.
That is correct, Core. And we serve as the network's master control. However, currently the network is down.
They kind of look like Wii era cutscenes. They look a little, but they do the job. They get the job done. But yeah, it's kind of cool seeing a Metroid game have voice acting. Alright, I think it's time we get into the story of this game, as I think this game actually has the most story out of the Metroid Prime games. Of course, the other games had backstory and lore to them, but this game has the most story in the present, I feel like. So at first, in the beginning of the story, Samus and 3 other bounty hunters are actually hired for a mission. So their mission is they have to bring the Federation Forces network back online because all of their supercomputers were infected by space pirates. So they gotta do that. But what-oh, the Federation ship they were all on is suddenly attacked by some space pirates. So Samus and the others have to escape to another planet called Norin. And this planet actually has some defense weapons. So Samus and the others gotta go repair them. And they eventually do repair them. But suddenly, heading for the planet, there's a Leviathan seed. And if that Leviathan seed gets on the planet, whoo, that's bad news. So Samus and the others decide, we're gonna rush up to the control tower and activate these weapons. But Dark Samus is there, she's back, and she makes all of them pass out. But Samus, just in time, activates the weapons and destroys the Leviathan seed. About 1 month later, Samus wakes up in a room with a scientist, and she learns
that her and the other bounty hunters were actually corrupted by Phazon. The scientists discovered that Samus's body was actually producing Phazon now, and they also upgraded her suit to be able to use the Phazon. So now she can use cool new Phazon abilities in the game. Samus eventually learns that the hunters actually went to 3 other planets, and the 3 other planets got corrupted by Leviathan seeds. So now Samus has to figure out what happened to the hunters and stop the Leviathans. So yeah, the story in the game is pretty good in my opinion. I wouldn't say it's amazing, but I say it's decent, and it does a good job at finishing off the Metroid Prime series. Now this game actually introduces some new characters to the Metroid series, and they're all new bounty hunters. In my opinion, I feel like these bounty hunters are actually more interesting than the ones in Metroid Prime Hunters. Yeah. I just feel like there's more character to them and their designs are more unique and all that stuff. But yeah, let's get into these bounty hunters. The first one we have is Rendis.
Are more fragile than they appear. I just received word that the Federation is allowing all bounty hunters to use ship command devices. You should now be able to remotely command your ship and land it here. Don't forget to perform suit maintenance and data backup if you need. Generator A is just through those doors. While you head that way, I'll activate the generator on the west side. Between the two of us, this should be a breeze.
And he's pretty cool. I think he's my favorite. He's got like a smooth, deep voice that sounds pretty cool. He's also basically just Frozone from The Incredibles. Yeah, he does the same kind of abilities. He does the ice thing where he makes like a trail of ice behind him and it can go up in the sky and stuff. So yeah, it's basically Frozone from The Incredibles. So yeah, but I really like him. I think he's pretty cool. Next, you have this guy called Gore. And he's like a little robot that can go inside of like a big mech, and he's also got kind of like a country accent, but it's more robotic sounding. He's neat, I guess. He's kind of cool. Yeah. But then you have the last one, which is Gan Draga.
Space Pirate Grey is definitely not my style. Machines aren't my thing either, so I'll let you get this generator back online. Thanks, Sammy.
And she can shape shift into all sorts of different things. She can basically become anything she wants, and yeah, and she's also a little bit mischievous too. Now, unfortunately, don't get too attached to all these guys, as you do have to kill them all. And the reason why is they actually get corrupted by Phazon, and they like become evil and stuff, and you have to kill them. And when you kill them, they just all absorb into Dark Samus, which is kind of sad that all these guys died. I kind of liked them, but yeah, we should get like a prequel game or something with these guys in it. That'd be really cool. But yeah, I really like these characters, and I think they're pretty cool. I felt like the ending of this game was pretty good. It's a nice little bow to this excellent trilogy of games. And you get a few extra stuff if you 100% the game. If you 100% it, you actually get a special new ending, which shows Samus reminiscing the times she had with the hunters before they died, which is quite sweet. And one more cutscene at the end of the credits. Samus moving on to her next adventure, and she leaves the planet, and we see a mysterious new ship. So yeah, quite a nice bow to the series while still leaving some possibilities for future games. So yeah, Metroid Prime 3 is a pretty awesome game and a good conclusion to the Metroid Prime series. Guys, the Xbox Kinect is watching you. Alright, so, yeah, this game is pretty mid. This game, I just don't know, man. Like, it's just really lame. God. So, yeah, this game is actually developed by Next Level Games, which I'm kind of surprised about, since Next Level Games have made some pretty good stuff. Like, they've made Luigi's Mansion. I think they made Mario Strikers, and those are pretty good games. So it's like kind of confusing. And those games also had tons of style and personality, but this game's just so generic. Like, it's just, I don't even know. Alright, so let's just get into the development history real quick. So this game was originally going to be a DSi game, so it's going to be a digital DS game. But the console wasn't strong enough. The hardware wasn't strong enough. So they decided to move it to the 3DS and work on it there, since it was more powerful. Now, Next Level Games were also developing a game on the Wii U called Project Valkyrie, and it was going to be like a multiplayer game or something on the Wii U, but Next Level Games decided to change it into Metroid Prime Federation Force. And yeah, so this game, in my opinion, is probably the worst out of the Metroid Prime games. It's either this or Pinball, and yeah, this game just is not that good. It's like, really, just, it's boring. It's like, there's no soul or anything. One of the things I didn't really like about this game was the art style. They went for this weird, like, Funko Pop chibi style, and apparently the reason why is so it'd be easier to see on the DS's screens, which makes sense, but it's still like, it's just kind of looks too goofy. Like, all the characters look like Funko Pops and stuff. It's like, I don't freaking. But this game actually controls pretty well. This is how I wish Metroid Prime Hunters controlled. Like, it actually controls pretty well. So here, I'll take out my DS. If you are wondering why it's pitch black in here, it's because it's easier to see the screens when it's dark. But yeah, let me show you how it controls. So we'll open it up. But yeah, this is like, it like feels like they kind of translated Metroid Prime 3's excellent controls into this game, and it just feels pretty good. And yeah, I wouldn't have mind if like Nintendo made like a traditional Metroid Prime game for the DS. So yeah, but how you control it is you use the stick to move around, and if you want to look up or down, you hold down the right trigger, and you can actually move the screen like this. So it uses like motion controls, and this works pretty well for like aiming and stuff. It feels so much better than Metroid Prime Hunters. Like, dude, I think Metroid Prime Hunters would have been a way better game if it had something controlling like this. Like, but yeah, it's really like disappointing. Like this game, in other Metroid Prime games, you're exploring like whole planets, and in this game, instead, it's like broke them up into individual levels you go through, so you just like kind of go through them and beat them. But it's like, they're not good. They're really basic. All you kind of do is just shoot up enemies and maybe some like basic puzzles, but it's like, I don't even know. There was this mission where you're just pushing a minecart. And you had to like shoot all these enemies, and it was infuriating. They made the enemies like have so much health, take so much damage to defeat. But yeah, most of the enemies will like take a shit ton of damage to defeat, and The main reason why I think they did this is because this game's actually a multiplayer game, which, you know, sounds pretty awesome. A multiplayer Metroid game. The main problem is, who's gonna want to play this with you? Like, you need to find 3 other people with a DS who want to play this with you, and that's just not that likely to happen. I mean, listen, Metroid fans are pretty rare, so trying to find one who's gonna want to play this with you is gonna be hard. And this game might be okay with multiple people. It's just gonna be kind of hard trying to scrounge up 3 other people. In fact, I played this game alone, and it's just inconvenient trying to play this with other people. It might have been better if this was like on the Wii U or like a home console, because you could just like invite some friends and they could play with you. But no, you have to like they have to have their own DS, and you have to like do all this stuff, and it's just more annoying. This game does use download play, which means not everyone has to have the game. Only one person needs it, and then the rest of them can download it onto their system. But it's like, who wants to play this in 2025? And yeah, the game was clearly designed with multiplayer in mind, because they made the enemies have a ton of damage, so that way everyone could chip in and help defeat them. This game just feels more like a battling game compared to the other Metroid games. Like, you do a lot more fighting, and it's kind of becomes monotonous after a while. And dude, there are no checkpoints, so if you die, you have to start the whole level again. It's just ugh. And the levels can be kind of long too, and it's just like, man, like, I honestly don't know if I'll ever play this game again. It's not that fun. But yeah, there was this like minecart mission where you had to slowly push this minecart, and there were enemies everywhere, and you have to make sure the storm doesn't get you, and it's just so annoying. It goes so slow, and if you die, you have to start the whole thing all over again. It's God. And there are just missions like that, man. They're just not good. And man, I feel like the other Metroid Prime games, they were like a nice big puzzle that you could complete. Like, it felt so satisfying, like going back to a spot you couldn't before with a new item and just unlocking it. But this game is just, the puzzles are like Skylanders level. Like, you're just pushing balls into stuff, and it's not good. The good Metroid Prime games were like a nice large puzzle, but this game's like one of those baby puzzles that have huge puzzle pieces with also a million enemies trying to kill you. Like, it's just, this game also just feels super skippable. Like, you don't need to play this. Like, you just don't. In fact, I didn't even bother 100%ing it. I'm that bored of this game. Like, that's how much I don't care about this game. All the other Metroid Prime games, I've at least tried to 100%, but this game, I don't even care. And also, something new they did for the Metroid series was they got rid of Samus. Yeah, I mean, Samus is in the game. She's a main character, but you're not playing as her. You're playing as Federation officers, and I wouldn't mind. I guess someone got a package, but I wouldn't mind playing as a different character if they were interesting. Samus is a really cool character, but these guys are just like generic like soldiers. Like, they're not special or good. And it just made me miss Samus. This game, man, is kind of just gimmick city. Like, they add a whole bunch of gimmicks to this game. There are these third-person levels, where you have your mech suits, and you're these little guys, and they're just walking around trying to not die. You can die in one hit, which is really annoying. Okay, calm down. Okay. You also have individual boss levels. You have levels where you're just attacking enemies. Like, you have to attack hordes of enemies, and it's kind of boring. And you also have that stupid minecart level I hate. Yeah, there's just like a whole bunch of weird gimmick levels. You also have the Metroid Blast Ball. Yeah, they had a whole bunch of weird gimmicky things, and I just kind of wish they just focused on the main levels and instead of all this crap. It's and they're not that fun. Like the killing hordes of enemies just isn't that fun when the combat is just shooting. It's I mean, you can dodge, but it's just not good enough to sustain a whole level. You can't just do that. It's extra annoying when you die and you have to start the whole thing over again. But yeah, it feels kind of gimmicky. And there's another game that I also felt like did too many gimmicks and didn't focus on the levels. As I reach out my gaming shelf, it's Sonic Lost World. This game also had a gimmick problem. Like, they focused too much on weird gimmicks that weren't that good instead of the main levels. Just a fun little observation. But yeah, this game, it should have focused on the main levels. So, there is actually one part of the game I did like, and that's the final boss. The final boss is a giant version of Samus, which was taken over by the space pirates, in her morph ball form. So you're basically trying to defeat a giant morph ball Samus, and it's kind of cool and wild. That was cool. I liked the final boss. I thought the final boss was good, but that's kind of it. Yeah, this game actually came out at probably the worst time ever. So the last Metroid game we got was in 2010, and it was Metroid Other M, and that game wasn't very good. It was another just not great Metroid game. So we hadn't gotten a Metroid game for like 6 years, and what came out was a weird spin-off game that no one wanted, and it wasn't even good. Yeah, it's just kind of like why release this? Like, it's been 6 years and you come out with this? Like, I don't know, it's just kind of weird, and it just would have been better to like release a regular Metroid game. Like, Metroid just wasn't in a good enough place to just be releasing random spin-offs. Like, I feel like now you could release a spin-off because we're getting all sorts of games. Like, we've gotten Dread, we've got Metroid Prime Remastered, and we're getting Metroid Prime 4. But back then, it was like nothing for 6 years, and then you give us a random spin-off that wasn't even good. It's just kind of frustrating and annoying. Now, luckily, next year in 2017, we would get Metroid Samus Returns on the 3DS, but unfortunately, that was when the Nintendo Switch came out, so not as many people played that game because the Switch came out the same year. So, but then luckily, finally in 2021, we got Metroid Dread, and that game actually did pretty good. And now the Metroid series is kind of back now. Like, we're finally like getting new games, and it seems like the series is finally back. But yeah, for a little bit, Metroid was not doing good. This game also released in 2016. Now, 2016 and 2015 are considered the dark era of Nintendo, and the reason why is because it was during the Wii U, and the Wii U was Nintendo's worst-selling console. In fact, it only lasted 3 years, I think. The Wii U didn't sell really well. And 2015 and 2016, we just got a lot of bad and to mediocre games that weren't that good. And Metroid Federation Force was one of them. It's just, it wasn't that great of a year to be a Nintendo fan. But yeah, overall, this game just isn't that good. It's not horrible, but it's just really annoying and frustrating and boring and just, it's just not good. Yes, there are worse games out there, but I don't know. It's just, and I think this might be my least favorite Metroid Prime game.
So I've reviewed all these games, and now I'm gonna rank them from worst to best. So the worst one is Metroid Prime Federation Force. This game just was not that good. It's just a really boring, just kind of bleh game. Next up, we have Metroid Prime Pinball. Now, this it's okay. It's kind of just like an alright little pinball game. Nothing too special. Next up, I think would be Metroid Prime Hunters. This game's pretty good, it's just the controls really hold it back from being great. This game could be really good, it's just the controls are really hard to get used to. I also just don't think this game is quite as good as the other Prime games. Like, I feel like the Prime games just do some of this game stuff a little better. Next up, we have Metroid Prime 3. This game is really good. This is a really good game. It does a lot of cool stuff, like you move to multiple planets, and you have cutscenes, and it controls really well with the Wii Remote and Nunchuck. I just feel like the other two games are a little bit better. Next up, we have Metroid Prime 2. This game is amazing. This game's super awesome. This game is really good. It's a super cool alternate dimension you can go to, which is super cool and creepy looking, and it's just a really good game. And next, we have my favorite Metroid Prime game, and just one of my favorite games in general, Metroid Prime 1. This game is just amazing. This game is just so good. The puzzles, the environments, the music is all amazing in this game. This game is just so awesome and good. Ugh, I just love this game so much. It's up there, man, with some of my favorite games. This game's in my top 5 favorite games. I just love this game so much. And yeah, it just does everything so good. The atmosphere, the world, it just feels so cool getting immersed and just enveloped in that land. It's just amazing. But yeah, these are all of the Metroid Prime games ranked and reviewed. But overall, Metroid Prime and Metroid in general, it's just an amazing series that I love. It is one of my favorites. I just love these games so much. And they're also kind of the way I kind of got into first-person shooters. Metroid Prime 1 was my first-person shooter. And it really showed me how amazing this genre can be. And it also shows me how unique these games are from traditional first-person shooters. Metroid Prime is just an amazing, awesome series, and I'm just so excited for Metroid Prime 4. It looks amazing. Ignoring that one character. But yeah, I just love this series so much. Dear to my heart. And I'm super glad I finally got to finish this series for the first time. And yeah, I'll see you guys when Metroid Prime 4 comes out. I'll be reviewing it, and yeah, see you guys later.